who, in addition to being the president of the MMJHL Charleswood Hawks and the Tiger Hills Hockey League, he was also president of the Southeastern Hockey League. Let's welcome to the Hall of Fame, Wayne Deschouwer.
Firstly, my family and I would like to congratulate the other inductees on your well-deserved accomplishment. When we learned of Wayne's induction, I recall experiencing so many mixed emotions. I know we have been so incredibly honored to be acknowledged in this way, and also have been so bashful receiving this recognition for simply doing something he truly loved. To not see my dad standing here tonight to acknowledge this honor is certainly disappointing. On the bright side, we're all fortunate for not having to be subjected to a 30-minute speech. When I began writing this speech, I found it to be a difficult task. What could I say on behalf of my dad that would express how much he loved this game and being part of such an amazing community? And also, how can I summarize someone's 60-year involvement in a sport? For Wayne, hockey wasn't something he dedicated his time playing, coaching, managing, organizing. It was a way of life. In his early 20s, not long after moving from Mariapolis to Gladstone, he was instrumental in founding a senior hockey team called the Lakers, where he acted as a player and manager for over 15 years. During that time, his involvement began to ramp up, as not only was he coaching his own kids' hockey teams, as well as the local midget team, but also serving as both the Arena and Minor Hockey Association president. In 1994, he joined the Charleswood Hawks as their manager. He would call his organization family for the next 24 years. In 1995, he was asked to preside over the Tiger Hills Hockey League. Senior hockey was near and dear to him. He knew the impact those teams and leagues had on the towns and communities. So for him, it was an easy decision to say yes. In 2015, he began taking on some league duties in the Southeast Senior Hockey League, where in 2016, he took over the official title as the league commissioner and statistician. Over the course of these years, there were so many other committees, councils, and roles he devoted his time to. These roles began to pile up so much that it was always a challenge to keep track of what he was involved with. The most remarkable part wasn't how many things he had on the go at one time. It was the high level at which he was doing them. First class. Do it right or don't do it at all were only a few of his mantras which he operated under. I remember asking him one day after he was complaining about his tongue being so raw from licking a giant stack of envelopes, stuffed with hockey camp invitations. Is this really necessary to put this much effort in your program? Can't you just dial it back just a little bit? His answer was quick. Nah, why do anything half-assed? You're already doing it, why not give it your all? This attitude was evident in the organizational success that followed him wherever he went. In 1994, my family made a plan to move from Gladstone to Winnipeg. I vividly recall when planning this great new chapter in our lives, he had made absolutely no consideration for the quality of schools in the area, proximity to public transit, commute times to work, or crime rates. You know, the typical prerequisites when deciding on where to plan new routes for you and your family. Instead, Dad's primary focus was, what hockey teams in the area, and how could I join? I remember how excited he was to join the Charleswood Hawks as their general manager, a community-based team in his soon-to-be backyard, working alongside a group of amazing volunteers, many of whom today he would still call great friends. As a huge Blackhawks fan, he already owned a closet full of team paraphernalia. It was a perfect match. The Baby Hawks, as he referred to them, were like his fourth child. I think his official team title should have been Swiss Army knife. Whatever needed to be done, he would be there with his sleeves rolled up. He spent countless hours in the fall trying to bolster his roster. Dipping into his enormous Rolodex of contacts, he'd call the senior hockey teams trying to get tips on what players in town were headed to Winnipeg for university. He'd make sure to keep in touch with all the MJHL teams to find out who was being released, as there might be a chance he could bring in a few more top-end players. Throughout the season, you could sometimes find him standing in for a missing D coach or a sick equipment manager, filling water bottles or bringing home jerseys, which he would delegate the task of washing them to my mom, as I don't think he knew how to work the laundry machine. Nights before home games, we'd be busy writing up and printing out programs and rallying up more volunteers to help out with the game day operations or upcoming fundraising hockey tournaments and events. He was so proud of the organization and their accomplishments over the course of his 24 years. For all the work that he did, he was so fortunate to be surrounded by friends, who shared the same passion for the team and organization, who also worked tirelessly throughout the season to ensure everyone from the players to the 50 ticket seller had the best experience possible. Wayne would also love talking hockey in the Charleswood Hawks. He had a home office and the phone would ring constantly. Half of his phone calls related to hockey and the other half were business related that usually ended with talking about hockey. Like any parent, proud moments are sometimes counterbalanced by disappointment. This was also true for the Hawks. The key I found after many years is to always check the league scores on the website before calling home or visiting. Win the night before, you were safe. A loss, abort mission. I had always had a laugh thinking about those who didn't know and called on the Monday morning after a loss. For 24 years, it was always the same dejected rant. We just can't score. We don't have any goal scorers this year. Or my favorite, I could easily point out every player that went out on Saturday night till 2 a.m. Every single one. He was never mad, just disappointed. If you were standing in my spot today, he wouldn't even mention league titles or awards. That wasn't him. To him, those weren't his successes. He had emphasized he was only just a cog in the wheel. The results weren't just because of one person. It was a result of all the pieces working together. The community. Players, coaches, trainers, equipment staff, managers, board members, and volunteers. They all played a part in any organization's success. He truly believed that. And I think that's why he was relentless in giving back to the game that gave him so much in return. His drive came from being part of that collective group, people who all shared in the same passion he had for the game. And the post-game beer, I'm sure that factored in too. The responsibility of giving back to the community is entrenched in our entire family. A few years ago, I had a friend questioning why I was volunteering for these shifts at our community winter carnival. He said, "Isn't it just a fee you can pay instead?" I said, "When you have a last name like mine, you don't have a choice. Plus, if my dad saw me sitting on the sidelines, I can guarantee he'd find a way possible to come back down to earth and give me a swift kick in the ass." A big thank you to Larry Ring, Carrie Lyons, and everyone else that worked so hard to make this a special night for our family and friends. Thank you to the Hall of Fame and to the selection committee for this amazing tribute to my dad. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening.